Hey everybody, welcome to Tavern Talks. I almost said GamingTrend. I was like, what did I do? I'm not that person. Staring at Mike too long. Such a handsome fella. Anyway, welcome to Tavern Talks, episode 151 with Mike Dunn. Over there at GamingTrend, or GamingTrend Magazine is what we're creating it to be.
Sure, why
not? And once again, we're here at the Tavern, so we're going to ask questions to Mike, kind of get a feel for his experience in TTRPGs and how he's survived this world with him, as well as other things, because we dive down rabbit holes and never end back where we begin. So, for those that are brand new here, remember this is also an audience participation, so if you have questions, make sure you drop those in the link or in the chat room, and we'll ask those questions as they pop up. Real quick though, Mike, if you can just tell us who you are and where they can find you, and then we'll kind of start throwing some questions at you.
Sure thing. Well, thanks for having me, guys. This is super cool. James, I know we've been trying to do this for a while. I think it's been a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep on bumping into each other at cons. Well, so I am Mike Dunn. I am the editor-in-chief and of Tabletop and co-owner of GamingTrend, GamingTrend Magazine, GamingTrend.com, GamingTrend, the YouTube channel, GamingTrend everywhere else on the internet where you can find those two words smashed together. So yeah, we do a lot of game stuff and game adjacent stuff. We've been around for over 20 years now. We cover video games, tabletop games, and we've been expanding into entertainment. We've been doing reviews of TV shows and DVDs lately, 3D printers, video cards, furniture, game peripherals. Like, we cover a lot of stuff. And so we kind of think of ourselves as sort of like a gaming culture site at this point, because we like talking about game related stuff and writing about it and shooting video and going to conventions and that sort of thing. And yeah, we're going to keep on doing it, and as long as we can, as long as people still come.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun.
I mean, I wouldn't have been doing it this long if it wasn't at least a little bit, right?
Right.
It's fair enough.
Because it's definitely not my full-time job, so to speak. We are an all-volunteer organization.
Hey, us too, sort of.
Yeah, well, you know, it's one of those things, right? Like, if we had done what a lot of like our contemporaries like 15 years ago did, and sold to some other company, GamingTrend probably wouldn't exist today, and that isn't lost on me, especially in the environment that we have in gaming media right now. So
yeah, and there are a lot of gaming media that was out 10, 15 years ago that is not as well known anymore as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's that.
Yep. A lot of names. As a matter of fact, like, I remember when we first started using the name GamingTrend, like about a year after that, GameTrailers.com started becoming a thing, and it was before YouTube really kind of blew up. And so they started using GT, and we're like, gosh darn it.
Gosh darn it. You stole it.
But we're still here. And they're just
true.
like a subsidiary of GameSpot or something. So.
Yeah.
They are a shell of what they once were.
They are a shell of what they once were. Absolutely. Well,
indeed.
We don't talk a lot about video games, but though we are very adjacent to video games as well, being the fact that a lot of ideas and a lot of concepts come from tabletop and vice versa. So to kind of start us off, I asked 3 questions to every single one of our guests. The first question, of course, is when did you start playing TTRPGs?
Oh man. I'm what the kids call an old, right? So like I started, I think I bought my first D&D book in 1980 or 81. And it was, I remember it very distinctly. It was a copy of Deities and Demigods. And I was already big into comic books and reading mythology and that sort of thing. So it was totally up my alley. And then I basically started collecting D&D books for like 3 years before I finally found some people to play with, because it was hard to find people to play with back then. Certainly not the kids that were in the schools that I was going to, like overseas on a military base kind of thing. I actually I actually started playing with GIs on the military base that my dad was stationed at. Every Saturday after school, I think by this time I was like 4th or 5th grade. And I would go to the recreation hall on base, and I would pester the GIs to let me play TTRPGs with them, and they were playing D&D, Traveler, like Marvel superheroes, villains, and vigilantes, like pretty much everything that was out. They would like cycle it in.
Oh wow!
And at first they were like, "Oh no, go away! You're bothering us." And and finally I was like, "Can I watch?" And they were like, "Okay, sure, but like stay out of our way." So I brought my drawing pad, and I fancied myself an artist at the time. Wanted to get into comic art, and I would draw their characters while they were playing, and then at the end of the game I'd be like, "Hey, here's your character," and that warmed their heart, and they finally allowed me to play with them, and I just kept on doing that until we moved away. So that's kind of how I kickstarted my TTRPG time. It was really cool. I really owe those GIs a lot.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It's very wholesome.
It is very wholesome.
Yeah. Well, back in those days, there was no such thing as helicopter parents, and we were like cut free and left to wander fairly through the lands. And so I would be just gone all day and just hang out, and it worked out pretty good.
Back home before the lights come on.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm out of like pocket change to buy chips and candy bars. I need to go home and eat." Right.
Right. I'll draw you a character if I can have a quarter, so I can go get some food.
Hey, it happened. That happened. It absolutely happened.
So we go from
wet our whistle there for a second.
Yeah.
A little simultaneous quaffing. There we go.
There it is.
They don't call this Tavern Tales for nothing.
So, besides the fact that you were big into comic books and into mythology, and you found these GIs that were willing to actually let you play, what kept you interested? Like, if you're wondering, like, it goes from, hey, I played this a couple times and it was cool, to let's move on to the next thing, to no, there's something about this game that's different and I want to continue to play.
Well, I mean, a lot of it was the fantasy genre. I was big into fantasy, and of course, the TTRPGs I ended up playing like either fell under fantasy, superhero, or sci-fi, and those were like my 3 favorite things. Period. When the original Star Wars came out, I remember my early childhood as before Star Wars and after Star Wars, right? So like in Star Wars was like pretty much all 3 of those wrapped into one, right? Like
right.
it was amazing for that. And I was really into the art. The art was a big part of it, because I was an aspiring artist, um, and just kind of like the fellowship and the vibe, right?
Okay.
That was, I didn't really realize that until after I'd played for a while, like how big of a deal that was. That part of
Right.
it was, because it took a little while to kind of get used to that. I mean, not so much as a kid, because like as a kid, I was still pretty close to the days where I like, pretended I was Superman on the playground,
Right.
right? So, um, but no, it was just cool, and always loved games. Was also into like other kinds of games as well. Video games were not something that you had at home at the time. You had to go to the arcades, and loved those, but never had enough quarters. Um, and yeah, no, it was a great way to spend an afternoon when you're a kid.
Oh, we're just gonna dropped immediately from Arclight Court. Real quick question, then we'll get back to the three. Is what is one piece of advice for independent game writers you would give to those who want to be successful in the space?
Oh gosh. Oh.
Hot
Well, I
with
guess
the
it
first hard one.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
really. Whew.
Part of it is how you define success, right? Because I don't want to. I don't want to mince words. It's a hard time right now for independent game media. Um, between all these companies that are like laying people off, and kind of closing up all these game sites, to the encroachment of like generative AI, and like sites switching over to writing articles of AI slop. Um, you might have an idea of like how I feel about generative AI just from those few words. Um, it's a rough go right now, but honestly, just write as much as you can, and get it out there. Uh, if you're doing tabletop games, uh, there's a few avenues that you could take other than just like starting your own site. Like you could write some stuff on boardgamegeek.com. TTRPGs, it's a little harder to get into, in terms of like getting exposure. But that is something that I'm actually trying to actively kind of help. You could also go to gamingtrend.com and apply, and we could give you a platform to and a place to learn, how to write more prolifically, and we have a great peer edit review process, and a great team that really works together, kind of elevates everybody. um but yeah, find a way, find a medium to give yourself exposure. I know a lot of people are doing like TikTok like stuff right now,
Mm.
where it's very short form, and they're doing like more video or kind of voiceover stuff. That's something you could do. But at Gaming Trend, we're kind of old fashioned. Like we're very much like long form written reviews, uh, and we like to give people something to read. So uh, YouTube is it's a little weird right now, because they're shifting, the algorithm's shifting, and that's you don't want to get caught right, producing content specifically for the algorithm, because it's a trap.
It's a
Right.
trap. It's a
Right.
trap.
Yes, and I found that's it's no fun doing that too.
No.
So, but yeah, no, it's a good question. It's kind of a tough question to answer right now, just with the state of media, enthusiast media, and the state of the tabletop industry in general. So, But yeah, you're welcome to come out to gamingtrend.com, and we have a form you can fill out on the site, and we can take a look at your work and see if you want to do some writing for us.
Awesome. My last question, before we just start diving down rabbit holes,
Yeah.
is when did you decide? And this will be an interesting question because of the way you started. When did you
Mhm.
actually pick up the mantle and start being a game master?
Oh, so this is actually a very interesting thing. Um, I I was when I was a kid, I was super intimidated by the even the idea of doing it. I was very introverted, and I just wanted to draw everyone's characters. Um, and I probably wasn't even really that into role playing. It was more about like the hack and slash and the monsters and all that, which was kind of what D&D was back then. Um,
Yeah, I
but I didn't actually DM my first game until right before I took over tabletop at GamingTrend, which was about 7 years ago.
oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. And that was literally I'd played a little bit of D&D off and on. There was a long period where uh I was like I got married, had kids. They were all little. And I was able to like do video game stuff because partially because that was also my day job. I got a job at a video game studio years and years ago, and was doing web work for them. But um, I just I didn't really play much TTRPGs because I was playing video games, and then I tried to introduce my son to it when he got old enough, and I think we played like 3 or 4 sessions of fourth edition with a coworker. Um, but I was doing it mostly for him. I wasn't really like I was like I got to be careful. I can't get too deep back into this. It's gonna eat up all my time, and I don't have time for it. Silly thing for me to say in retrospect. Um, but then about 7 years ago, maybe 7, 8 years ago, I can't remember. I was hanging out with a bunch of friends, and they were like, "Hey, let's get a D&D game together," and everybody was like, "Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that." And then someone said, "Okay, but who's gonna DM?" And it was like crickets, right? And I was like, I just sat there for a minute. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I bet I could do that now. I'm a different person now than I was when I was a kid, and it seemed like too much work and something I didn't want to do. But I also realized that as I got older, I became a little bit more of a control freak. so so I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. And I ended up, I think we did at least 3 sessions a month for about a year and a half.
There you go.
Oh yeah, no, we were in it,
You were in it.
and I like I just went ham on it. I really really liked it,
Yeah.
and I would spend a lot of time, in between sessions preparing stuff. It was more or less Tomb of Annihilation, like the fourth edition Tomb of Annihilation book. But I like crammed a bunch of extra stuff in it
Mhm.
because I like kind of that kind of epic. I was trying to make sure each player had their own kind of epic storyline that they were working on, and I was trying to like hit on it in like what story beats that made sense to me. I got really really nerdy about it, and realized that I loved it, and it was going to be hard to like come back from that. I have since played and haven't really deemed much outside of like a kind of I did an online actual play during the pandemic. It's actually on the GamingTrend Twitch channel.
There you go.
Actually, I think it's not on the Twitch channel because that was years ago. It's on our YouTube channel, but it's like buried somewhere because it was very poorly done. I take complete responsibility. Yeah, I turned like a one shot into like a 9-session epic, and it was a bit more than I probably should have taken on, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Had fun though. Had fun. I'm actually one of the things I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to I've got a group that I play with locally now, and I'm a player again, which has been fun. But I also that's made me realize how much harder it is to DM other DMs because I can tell at the table who's DM'd a lot. And we're coming up with as many ideas as our DM, and we're just shoveling them at that person. So it's kind of funny. But I really want to do a Shadow Dark one shot with that group. And I was going to do that a few weeks ago, but didn't work out. Hopefully this summer. So
Don't get this guy talking about Shadow Dark. He is absolutely in love
I
with
was
it.
kind of hoping we would talk about Shadow Dark.
Look, we tried it. We tried it at Page a couple months ago and fell in love with it. It was so much fun.
Yeah, played it at Page, played it at Gary Con. Gonna be playing it at Gen Con. It's gonna be. It's a lot of fun. Spent way too much money on the Kickstarter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, I did that as well. I probably shouldn't have.
Well, I didn't have the core book yet, so I was like, do I buy the core book separately? And then I saw the Kickstarter, and I was like, why get the core book with it? So let's get everything at once.
So one of the things that I've been doing in the last few years, especially since the big OGL fiasco of a couple of years ago, that Wizards of the Coast perpetrated on us, is really kind of I'm making a concerted effort to explore other systems, other TTRPGs that are out there, and I've actually have 2 lead editors underneath me that just focus on TTRPGs at GamingTrend now, and we're covering stuff like Morkborg and the various Morkborg kind of variants.
That's kind of blown up over the last couple years.
Oh man,
there's so many variants of Morkborg now.
Yeah, no, I've only played base Morkborg, and I think I played a little bit of Pirate Borg, and both were really nice. I have Cyborg. I haven't played it yet. And I've got a few other things. There's so much good stuff out there. And when I heard about Shadow Dark, I'd heard some echoes about it before, not this year's Gary Con, but last year's Gary Con. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody had just gotten their Kickstarter copies a month or 2 before that, and so everybody was all talking about it, and somehow I managed to secure the last copy, the last physical copy for sale at GaryCon last year. And it took me until a few weeks before GaryCon this year to finally play it. I played it at Genghis Khan in February, and I was just like, I totally get this. This is fantastic. And so played some more at GaryCon. Really kind of want to see. One of the things I want to do is I want to just carry some of that with me, and just see if at the drop of a hat, someone says, okay, hey, let's play a TTRPG. What are we going to play? Oh, let's play Shadow Dark. I got it. And then just open my bag, set it up, and just run a game.
Well,
I bet you could do that with Shadow Dark.
It's this big. Like I can carry it around with me at any time. We actually got a chance to not only play Shadow Dark at GaryCon, but we played Dark Space at GaryCon as well, which is the sci-fi version of it that was written by the GM Preacher and Than, who did. They both wrote it, and they wrote it in a way where even parts of it can be completely written during the game, because it's like figuring out your job. There's roll tables for everything, so you can put a game together without having to know anything about the game yet at the beginning, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it seemed like it could be really easy to just bust it out and start playing. Boom, you know.
Well, character creation takes 2.5 minutes. Like, it's super.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and like you could even just randomize that. I found a character creation tool online that's great, and it'd be super easy. So I want to test that theory at some point. I'm feeling pretty confident about it.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll be at Gen Con. Let's do this.
Oh, right now?
Right now?
Okay.
Don't twist my arm. I've got enough dice around me.
Hell yeah. But yeah, so I'm getting excited about all kinds of stuff. I want to play more TTRPGs in general. I want to play more different TTRPGs. And that's not to say I don't like D&D. I like D&D. I like 5th edition. I liked 2nd edition. I never played 3rd edition. I skipped right over that. And 4th edition was weird and didn't really think it was very D&D-ish, but I didn't think it was horrible. And there were some things I liked about it that I actually kind of ripped off and used in that D&D campaign I did a few years back. You know, I liked the idea of a boss monster with minions, like one hit point minions. Like, I thought that was a great way to like kind of escalate the tension and freak everybody out.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's one thing I did like, and I've never played 4th edition, but I'd heard a lot about things like the minions, and they also have the group skill checks, things like that in 4th edition. And I was like, oh, these are kind of neat. And they never added them to 5th, and I was like, well, a few things about 4th edition that because people always complain 4th edition was just terrible. And I was like, but there's little pockets of there that are still good. So, because of that.
Yeah, there's a very prominent D&D YouTuber who actually, he's more than a YouTuber now. He's about to come out with his own system. Gosh, I am blanking on his last name. It's MCDM, Matt. Mercer.
Matt Kovo?
Matt Colville. Yeah. So when I was DMing that time, like, his video channel got a lot of attention from me. Like, it helped ramp me up significantly. And there's a lot about the way he approaches D&D that kind of is the same that I approach D&D. And so I know he added a lot of stuff from 4th edition in some of the books that MCDM came out with. And I know he's spoken very, very fondly of 4th edition. So it was not well received at the time, I recall. But I think time is being a little kinder to it.
I can see that. Yeah. I think that the biggest thing was they were trying to, and I know a lot of people will say they were trying to build their grid game, like their battle maps game, and they were actually trying to add minis and stuff like that to it. And that's kind of what they were utilizing that build for of 4th edition. And then they realized that the minis thing didn't really kick off as well as they wanted it to, and they went back to being a storyteller game in 5th edition. But
yeah, it was a little early for that, right? Like and I think they leaned too heavily into it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas 5th edition allowed for it, but it didn't require it nearly as much.
Yeah. So I'm curious then, out of the how many ever games you've reviewed and seen, what would you say are your top 3 right now?
Oh my god, that is an ever changing.
Yeah,
you mean just are we talking just strictly TTRPGs?
Just strictly TTRPGs.
Okay. Oh, like I mean, I want to take D&D out of it because D&D is kind of like Star Wars, right? It has a ubiquity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I wouldn't want to like use up a slot for D&D because D&D is just like, hey, it's there.
It's there.
I love D&D. We're good with it, right? Everybody's heard of D&D at this point.
Right.
So I would say you were talking top 3?
Top 3.
Top 3. All right. In reverse order. Oof.
You don't even have to say which one's 3, 2, or 1. You can just give us the top 3.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Oh,
I'm gonna do it.
Man.
Yeah, and 1 and 2 might be a tie.
That's fine.
So I'm totally cheating there. Number 3 right now, I would say Savage Worlds.
Okay. I've only played twice, and it's an interesting system.
I've only played it twice myself, and there were some things I really liked about it. I liked the cards. I thought that was pretty cool. I like the flexibility of it. Now I haven't run a game, so I've only played it. But I liked what I saw, and I picked up some rule books, and they're on my big bookshelf in the other room, with all the other books that are vying for my attention. Number 2. Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna say Shadow Dark number 2.
Okay.
And only because I had such a really good time with number 1, which I will get to in a moment, right, at GaryCon. And it's one that I've been dying to play for years, like long before I ever heard of Shadow Dark. So Shadow Dark right now, I would say, sits at number 2.
Okay.
It's a very, very
very
close behind.
Okay. I'm curious what number 1 is now, because you're like, I played it at GaryCon.
He's building it up.
I've been waiting for it in a while.
Number 1 right now for me, and Andrew would probably give me a big hug for this, is Fate of the Norns.
Oh.
Ragnarok, yes. That is a game. I've been talking with Andrew Valkassis about this game since like Gen Con 2019. Like, I think was the first time I interviewed him and saw the game, and like fell in love with the artwork, fell in love with like the ideas behind the system, and just thought Andrew was awesome because he basically made a Norse themed TTRPG as like a side product of his like translations of old Nordic texts, right? Of like folklore, because he's like that was what he did. He translated
Wow.
Some of the books that they have available are just straight up his translations of some of the old fables. And so he is
Hillrow,
right? And so
like
I saw him every year. I started collecting the books in 2019. Like, I was like, all right, this is like, it's beautiful. I'm gonna at least look at it and look at this beautiful art. I think it's amazing. And I always wanted to play it, but it always felt like really it was the rune based system, because instead of dice you cast runes. Yeah. And I was like, that's brilliant. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around no dice. Right? like I like the idea, but
I still don't get to roll dice.
Yeah, I'm like, how does this even work? And so I read the book and I was like, okay, I get it on paper, but I'm still not sure. And then finally, this year at GaryCon, I'm hanging out with Andrew, and and he's like, hey, he starts talking to me about a thing that he's doing with Ed Greenwood, because he and Ed Greenwood came up with Mythical Ireland for the setting, right? Because he followed up Fate of the Norns Ragnarok with Children of Eru, which is Celtic, all of the Celtic myths. And they all work in the same system. And then he and Ed did a huge sprawling city in Ireland as a thing. And right around GaryCon, they were just starting to deliver some of that. And so
how
he's
much
like,
I have
hey,
to spend now at Gen Con this year. Like, I'm gonna have to drop for this entire series. Like, I'm already hooked. I'm drooling.
Oh man, it's super good. It's super good. So I we're talking at the bar at GaryCon, and he's talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, I actually haven't played yet. And he's like, wait a second, what? And I was like, I felt a little, I got flushed, like I was embarrassed.
Right.
Talking to the designer of the game and telling him that I've owned it for years and I haven't played it yet. Yeah. And he's like, I'm sure I've had you at my table. I'm like, no, you haven't.
I've never had a chance to play.
Yeah. And so then 30 or 45 minutes. Oh, no. And he was like, okay, I have one session. I still have a place. I always have an extra character sheet with me, an extra pre-gen. It's yours if you want it. I was like, I'm there. And so I went and I played, and I had an amazing time, but we only had 2 hours. Like the sessions were way too short. And so then I saw him again that night, and I think that was the night of Stefan's metal party. Yeah. And I'm walking into the party, and he's walking out with a group, and he's like, hey, you want to play some more Fate of the Norns? We're going to play with this guy. And it was like, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was like he's one of the lead designers of D&D, during the 4th edition, and then took over
Crawford or Perkins?
Organized. No, not Crawford or Perkins. He took over organized play.
Oh, Alan Patrick.
No. Gosh. I can't. I'll have to look up the name again. He's in the picture that was in the reel that you guys shared on Instagram. We're all sitting around a table playing Fate of the Norns. Anyway.
Oh, that's what the picture was?
Hey, he was like, you want to come play with us? And I was like, yeah. So I totally skipped the party, went and played with them. Andrew played. He didn't GM.
Oh wow.
He played, and the guy whose name I can't remember, he made up an adventure on the spot, having only purchased the books the day before.
That's God tier. And
this was all a play for Andrew to get him to write a module for him. And at the end of the session, he was like, and that's all I got in my brain for this. So you're going to have to buy the module when it comes out. And Andrew's like, yes. I'm like, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was super awesome. So that's probably why it's number 1 for me right now, because that's how cool it was. That's awesome. Everything clicked when he taught it at the session earlier that day, and I can't wait to get it to the table again.
So you're running.
I'm sorry, I gotta step away.
You're running it at. Go, Chuck, if you got to run. So you're running it at Gen Con for me? Is that what I'm hearing? Me and Austin?
I don't know if I'm gonna make it to Gen Con this year. We'll have to see.
Man.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird year.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I go and GM per GUI Cube every year at Gen Con, I probably would not be going this year. My son and I are going to Thailand here at the end of September, so that's our big trip for the year. So I've got to try to like squeeze Gen Con in there and then get home. So it's not going to be like take an extra day on either side of Gen Con. It's going to be get to Gen Con, go home from Gen Con. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I did a back-to-back con earlier this year.
Yeah.
I did Genghis, then Gamma, and then like 2 weeks later, Gary.
Yeah, I did Genghis and Gary, and that was still back to back. Like
Yeah, I squeezed one in right in between those. Like I literally left Genghis to go to Gamma Expo, and I had 2 panels that I was speaking at there. So
I mean, but you had panels at least. So I mean that does help.
yeah, I have panels at Origins this year.
Nice.
That I need to figure out what I'm going to do about it.
I was supposed to go to Origins, however, it's just too many conventions this year for me.
Yeah. Yeah, this year is kind of feeling like a bit of a contraction in terms of like,
I've had to say no to more conventions this year than I have ever. And I'm like, wow, there's so many that I want to go to and that people want me to be at, but I'm like, yes, but I'm still not big enough where I'm being paid to go there, so that's not going to happen. And things like that. So like I really like back to back was almost four months in a row for me.
Yeah.
Because I was going to go.
I've been there.
Because we did Page, Chuck's first convention with me. We did Page in Philadelphia, ran by Ron, who does an amazing convention in January. And then right after that was Genghis, and then Gary Con, and then of course because Genghis and Gary Con, I see Jeff everywhere I go. Jeff invited me to Chaosium Con. And I was like, bro, I can't do it. There's no way. 2.5 weeks after Gary Con, and I have the big trip this year. I was like, there's no way I can do it because we've got so much to leave that I'd have to. And we didn't plan it until after Gary Con, so I was buying premium priced, plane tickets and hotel tickets at that point. And I'm just like, nope, I'm good. Can't do it. So yeah, my next one is Gary, or not Gary, but Gen Con. So
yep. I'll probably end up going. I mean, I've gone every year except for the years where they didn't have one, right? For years now. And we've typically done our Best of Gen Con awards there. And we usually get a lot of content, but what I noticed the last couple of years that we went is that it's just so big and so chaotic. I literally had a team of 11 last year, and we still barely scratched the surface of like the amount of stuff that we could have covered there. And so like,
yeah, because there's like 9 panels, 2 actual plays going on every hour of the day, and then you've got, an entire football field worth of vendors in the vendor hall, and
yes, and then you have an entire football field full of games happening. So it's a bit much, and it's getting more and more expensive, like in terms of like cost, and it's
hotel costs. It's a lot. I hate to tell people, hotel costs are through the roof. It's absolutely astronomical. We talked about this on last episode. D3 at Sea is an all-exclusive tabletop role-playing game based cruise that you pay about the same price as you would to Gen Con.
Oh wow.
It's about $2,500, but you start looking at hotel, plane.
You're probably getting better food too.
And you get free food because you have no fight on food, and a lot of them are free alcohol on top of it. So you're already spending. I mean, you're already gonna make your money back. And you have, and it's 7 days instead of 4. So I'm like, man, I'm almost to the point where I'm gonna go start going to the cruise instead of Gen Con.
Right. Yeah, it's
plus 71,000 people to me lately. I'm just like, it's so many people.
So like I'm a little bit hypocritical because like I'm talking smack about Gen Con, and I'm also like, did someone say Essen Spiel? Right?
Yeah.
Which is like 3x Gen Con.
Is it really?
But, yeah, no, it's huge.
I knew Gen Con was huge, but and I've heard Essen was bigger, but I didn't think it was that much bigger.
Yeah, no, it's bonkers.
One of these days.
Like, I as a matter of fact, at Gamma Expo, I was talking to a couple of guys from Czechoslovakia, and one of them leaned into me and was like, "So are the conventions in America usually this small?" I was like, well, this is a small one because it's industry.
It's industry.
He was
only,
like, oh,
yeah.
okay. But your Gen Con, it only has like 71,000. I was like, yeah, that's the biggest one in the country. And it's like, this is like a fart in the wind. It's just like, I hear you, man. I understand. It's like, I will go to Spiel one of these days just to have that experience.
Yeah.
But of course, it's a completely different kind of convention. It's set up differently. It's not, a lot of people like instead of a booth, you have like an area, I believe, where you have a bunch of demo tables. So like all of the game playing is happening at the various booths, and you're actually able to sit down and play a full game, not like a 30-minute time slot kind of thing.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, one of these days, I mean, when it makes sense to travel internationally again. I don't think it's going to happen this year.
No, not this year.
But yeah, no, I'll probably end up at Gen Con. I think the reason why I'm so down on Gen Con is because I've been to so many good smaller conventions the last couple of years. Like, this year was the second year I've been to GaryCon, and last year when D&D invited me out to go to it, and they offered to pay my way.
Yeah. Who was that invited you?
Wizards of the Coast. Because they were kicking off the 50th anniversary stuff. And I was just like, oh man, that is like 2 weeks after Genghis Khan. I don't know if I could do that. And they're like, oh, well, we're pairing. I'm like, I guess I'm going. Like, why would I turn that down?
Right.
And I had an amazing time, and I swore up and down that I would never not go to that convention again.
I loved Gary. I mean, and I'm the same way.
Yeah.
GUI Cube pretty much covered us the first year I was there because we were doing a lot of stuff with them. We were running a bunch of their games. And then I ran a lot with the Australians there last year, and then all of a sudden I not only went this year, but I upgraded my ticket this year. And Did you get a gold badge? Oh.
No, you went higher.
I went higher.
Oh, you're a lucky man. I tried for those.
Yeah, so I had an insider for those. That's why I got the opportunity. One of the Australians already had a platinum badge, and he purchased it that year thinking he was going to be able to come back the following year. And when he didn't, he messaged me and was like, hey, bud, do you want to buy the badge off of me? And I was like, absolutely. So,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But it really got me into some really cool games. That's the one thing GaryCon is unique about that I know that a lot of other conventions don't have the opportunity to do is the badge bases you on when you get to pick your game. So if you have a higher level badge, you get to come in a month early and start picking out games that are already out there. So we get to play some really
Genghis
cool
does that too. for the VIGs?
I've had a VIG every year since I started at Genghis Khan, and I have not been able to pick up at it. But I also run 75% of that convention. So.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah, I think because I think
I want to get into a Hazard Quest game next year because they just put us some really cool materials out there. What's the other one that runs? It's similar to Hazard Quest, but it's Call of Cthulhu.
I think I've had one of those sessions. Yeah, it's like a group that does.
It's
that
a
specializes.
group that specializes in it, but they do like seriously immersive versions of it.
Yes, yeah, I think that was one of the sessions that we did this year, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, because I know I was talking with Jeff about it at Genghis, and his son was playing in one, and they were playing in like the Antarctic.
Oh, nice!
And they all could only use their character sheets with a tea light, and that's the only way you could see in the entire room was with this tea light. And for those who have never played Call of Cthulhu, it's Eldritch horror, it's mystery. So, and the whole room was dark. So they're only using lights for certain things, like to express different things that are happening in the room. So yeah, apparently it was a pretty intense experience. And of course, Jeff is one of the lead creators for Chaosium. His son playing in it probably had to have been a pretty cool opportunity. So
yeah. So. I think it was the same. It was the same group. We did one of their other sessions, where it was like based in the South, and it was focused on like one of those revival tent kind of things, and it took a turn. Right. Funny thing about Call of Cthulhu, which I now love, and it would probably be somewhere else on my top 5, not just the top 3. Like it would be somewhere within the top 5. But young Mike, like early Mike, 10-year-old Mike, bounced off it hard. It was like. When I was a little kid, when I first, not a little kid, but when I was young, I was probably a teenager when I played it by that point. I bounced off it pretty hard and thinking it was too hard, and my character was just a puny human, and he sucked, right? And like couldn't cast
I gotta
any
battle,
spells.
and I gotta take on these things that are astronomical.
I went crazy and died like really quick, right? And I actually, there was a convention, like a virtual convention during the pandemic called Kobold Con that I did. I think it was in 2020 or 2021. And I was like, I should give Call of Cthulhu a shot again, because like I'm an adult now.
And he goes, and it still scared the shit out of me.
and that time and the time at Genghis Khan earlier this year were the only 2 times I've played since like I bounced off of it, and I loved both times because both times I somehow maximized the amount of effect my character could do in that session, and then promptly died. Like I won the scenario in the first one, but died in the process.
Yep.
And like had a very dramatic moment doing it, and was like, yes, that is satisfying. I'm good with that. And then I didn't quite do the same thing at Genghis, but it was a good end for that character, because that character was kind of a douchebag. So I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, always no hesitation there. And I've since bought a bunch of those books of the most recent edition too. So, because as my wife says, I'm a hoarder. The books are
You're like
smaller than the board games. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
I'll throw that
It's
out
not
there
hoarding.
in my defense.
You're
Yeah.
not a hoarder.
I'm a
You're an
collector.
avid collector.
Avid collector.
Exactly.
You think about it. Back in the old days, they used to have libraries in their house. It's like, you can't yell at me about the fact that I have a couple bookshelves full of books and games.
Yeah, but who actually had libraries in their houses?
Really rich people.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm working on it. It's just a bunch of comic books and TTRPG books, but I'm working on it.
Working on it. Another question is like, out of the people who had libraries in their books, how many books did they actually read? Like, seriously, let's talk.
Look, that's all they had to do. They didn't have Tic Tac in their phone.
That's true.
Well, I know how many I haven't read, so it's probably most of them.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I have way too many TTRPGs laying around my apartment right now, and I'm like, I will get to you one of these days.
Yeah.
I actually, those old magazine spinner racks? I've got one of those in my gaming den, and the top half is dedicated to like the smaller TTRPG form factor books, like Morkborg and the zine stuff, Shadow Dark. And then the bottom half is dedicated to like comic collections, collected like anthologies and stuff. So
nice.
Just to get that old school feel.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm moving out here soon and moving into my house, back into my house, so I gotta find another bookshelf. Because I got more books that need to be taken care of and off floors and things like that. But yeah. So here's a question then. So you've played a bunch of games. What's your next exciting game that you want to play?
Oh man. TTRPG wise?
Sure.
Well, TTRPG wise, like I really want to run Shadow Dark. Like,
right.
That's something I want to do.
Yep. What's the next game you want to play though?
I did kickstart the Monty Python TTRPG.
What?
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
Yes, as a matter of fact, oh no, I'm not gonna go get it. It's yeah. I got the full blown thing.
So did you see Tim at GaryCon? The guy who dresses like Tim.
The Tim the Enchanter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some call him Tim.
Some call him Tim. Right.
Yes.
So
sorry.
he actually was running that game at GaryCon.
Yeah, one of my guys went to it, and it was like a weird game though. It was like a kind of a charity thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. He might have been running an actual game.
Yeah, we were playing Deep Space in the back, one of the back areas, and he was right in front of us, and he was so loud and like we were trying not to laugh on certain things that were happening because everybody was busting up laughing. So you get an actual trebuchet that you can fling dice and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's sitting right over there.
It's so
yeah. And you get a couple of plastic coconuts. So here's a funny story. It's a little it's somewhat related. So first of all, like it looks ridiculous. I can't wait to try it out. It's another one of those, I don't know how I'm going to make that happen, but I need to make it happen. But so I'm going to diverge into another long tail. So bear with me here. It is related to what we were just talking about. When I went to high school, I spent my first 3 years of high school in College Station, Texas. Yeah, exactly. Which is where Texas A&M is at. Now, there was a cool thing about Texas A&M in that every year, the sci-fi fantasy club Cepheid Variable threw 2 conventions. One was about wargaming, which is called WarCon, and that was like in February, or no, like in December, I think. And then they also had another convention called AggieCon, which was a pretty big deal, certainly back in the 80s, and is not a big deal these days, but it's been going on for like at least 50 years. Like it is, yeah, it's a long-standing convention. And it would, you know, guests would come in. Like I remember meeting Chris Claremont, who used to write the X-Men there. I remember meeting some of the cool old school D&D artists because they had an art competition. They had a tiny dealer's room. But one of the things that they also had was an early version of LARP, right? It was a live action role-playing game, but they called it Quest. And there was one guy who went to A&M who was like, he was like a nerd chieftain, I guess would be the best way to describe him. He went by the name of Wolf.
Chief of Nerf.
It was just so cringy and cheesy. The more like now that I'm saying it out loud, but he ran Quest. He like designed it, and it was basically you're running around the Texas A&M the Central Texas A&M campus, within like 3 buildings, and you're doing like these kind of puzzles and encounters and that sort of thing. And it was always Cthulhu based. It was always kind of Call of Cthulhu based. And like I said, I bounced off Call of Cthulhu at that point. So I was like, Anyway, I think he graduated or like finally like gave up on college or whatever and moved on. And a friend of ours was still kind of like I went to high school with him, and he started going to A&M, and he joined that club officially, and started doing some of the planning for the convention. And so one year, I think it was like 91 or 92, it was after we were both out of high school. He was like, "Hey, I've been put in charge of Quest this year. Do you have any ideas?" And I was like, "What about a Monty Python quest?" Right? And so we basically came up with a LARP, a Monty Python LARP session. And the premise behind it is that all the different teams had to try to find the man who says "it's" at the beginning of Monty Python's Flying Circus because he was missing. And they had to like do a bunch of puzzles and encounters and stuff. And so like we set up all these cool things, like the cheese shop was where you bought supplies. The Spanish Inquisition were wandering monsters, and like we actually had guys dressed up like the Spanish Inquisition, and they fucking nailed it. But by far the most memorable part of this was they couldn't get to the last encounter unless they bought a horse from the cheese shop. And of course a horse is a pair of coconut halves. Do you know how hard it is to cut a coconut in half?
Yes.
It is not easy.
It's not easy.
It's
right.
not easy. Like a perfectly cut in half coconut. Yeah. I would say 90% of our prep was trying to cut 6 coconuts in half. But it was worth it because we literally had people clopping them together, going around Texas A&M campus like this.
Oh my goodness.
It was beautiful.
If only this was the time when videos were a thing.
Oh man, I would love to have that. It would be amazing. But the Monty Python Kickstarter set that I got has 2 plastic coconut halves. And I was just like, if only I had these like 30 years ago.
Just plastic ones. This would have made my life so much easier.
I know, right? If I would have known where to get plastic coconuts, it would have saved me so much trouble.
Such a good story.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. I wish I still had all those notes because like I obsessively listened to like Monty Python CDs because I had a couple of sketch like CDs full of sketches, and then I'd go over to a friend's house and watch. He had a bunch of them on VHS and all that fun stuff.
VHS?
So
What's
the
that?
research?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, we weren't quite to DVDs yet.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, this is technically happy hour at this point, so this is where our audience is allowed to ask any questions they want.
No.
We don't have to answer them, but we are encouraged to answer them.
Bring it on.
And then Chuck will probably have a couple good ones as well. So
yeah, since we're waiting on our our guests or our patrons in the tavern to come up with some questions, I got at least one good one. So you've been DMing for the better part of a decade now. What
Not
has been
DMing? Well, I guess you're right. You're right.
Playing.
It's been about 7 years.
7 years? Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No. I. It's a smaller sliver of my life, so I always shrink it up in my brain.
Fair enough. No, I know you've played for a long time, so you can call this into accountability too. But what has been, as either a DM or a player, your highest high, and what has been your lowest of lows?
Oh man,
that's the reaction I want.
Yeah. So I will definitely say this. My highest high has been as a DM, and it's always when the players come up with something just out of left field. Like there was one thing that I did at the beginning of each session during that long campaign that I told you about, the Tomb of Annihilation one, where I would make them do the recap of the last session to kick off the current session, and to cue them up, I would they called the party the Lepidopterists, which is a Venture Brothers reference if you're familiar with that particular episode of season 3.
It's so long.
Yes, it is my favorite episode. But I would start each session with previously on the Lepidopterists, and then they would take it from there and recap everything. And it was I loved doing it that way because they didn't always remember things correctly. And so they or they didn't have the omnipresence that I did, the omniscience that I did, and the context of everything that happened. So it was always amusing to kind of kick it off that way. But one session, I said that, and then two of them jumped up out of their chairs. One of them grabbed a ukulele, and they sang the previously recap. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful moment. An absolutely beautiful moment.
That's awesome.
I wish I had that on video.
Sure, for sure.
That's awesome.
And then the worst time I had, how did you put it?
The lowest of lows.
The lowest of lows. So there was one time during that campaign that I did online where one of my players crossed some boundaries, and two of the players hit me up afterwards and were like, hey, we can't play with this guy anymore. He's already kind of getting on our nerves. And I had to boot him. And that was not cool. It was not fun. And I don't ever want to be I don't ever want to be in that position again, because it sucked. Sure. But it was warranted, and it happens. So.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to make, as the game master, you have to make the hard calls.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the lows, come with good lessons. So.
Yes. Oh yeah. No. It actually really kind of underscored the concept of the zero session and the need for a zero session and setting setting those boundaries
Mm-hmm.
at the offset. So
Speaking of setting boundaries in session zeros, I mean, now we have the deck of player safety.
oh,
Da, da, da,
hey. Wow, was that like a segue into a product you guys are selling or something?
No. This
We're-
isn't even
no,
us.
no.
No. So
Oh, okay. I was like,
So,
wow, that would have been really accidental
You,
and
you
awesome.
you just set it up. I just hit it out.
yeah, right. And actually, starting this week, they have a completely free version online that is not part of Demiplane anymore, so anybody has access
Oh.
to it. So
Yep.
Super
yeah.
cool.
Yep.
No, Tom has really come up with an awesome opportunity. So for those who have never played with this before, it's really easy. So you pass these out and you hand the whole deck to somebody, and there's enough in there so that everyone has to take a card. And each person can either take, if you don't want to take a card, you take the card that just says anything goes, and there's enough for everybody at the table, or at least there should be. I think there's 6 to start out with, and you can buy the expansion to get more. But the goal is that everybody takes their cards, and then you, after that's done, you take all the cards from everybody, and then you look and see what are actually the problem. Because you don't know who actually has which actual trigger, and then you move on. So
Oh, that's
Yep,
a cool
so-
idea.
yeah, and
And
some
it
of,
takes
super cool
5
idea.
minutes.
yeah, it takes 5 minutes. So
Yeah, and it kind of like that anonymity adds a layer of safety.
Yep.
right, because now you don't have to worry about somebody pinning it on
Calling you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well,
Yeah. Nice. Very cool.
So
I
thanks
like it.
thanks for that convenient
That
segue, by the
quick,
way, Mike.
convenient segue.
Fantastic. See, this is what I'm here for. Believe it or not, like most of the time when I'm on video, I'm literally doing just that. Like I am queuing someone up to talk about a thing that they're
Well,
that they're
really,
doing, right?
Anytime anyone brings up boundaries in session zeros, that we always kind of bring that up as just like, hey, this is out there as a tool.
And there are a lot of
I
other
like
ones out there, the X and N or the X and N cards.
X's and O's, yeah.
Yeah.
Green card, green, red, all
Green,
that stuff,
red,
yeah.
yellow cards. A lot of those are built more so for session zero specifically. The cool
Right.
thing about this one is you can literally pass it out before any session,
Yeah.
and it's 30 seconds.
Yeah. I do have one
Right on.
more question for you though.
Yeah, bring it.
What kind of tips and tricks can you offer to the audience as a GM or even as a player that you've picked up along the way that you might be able to share?
Gosh.
You just pick one. Doesn't have to be all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say when in doubt, go for it. Right?
Okay.
Like if you think you can queue up a really kind of epic moment for a player, do it.
Yeah.
If you're not sure whether or not like what you're doing is strictly good D&D, like don't even just do it, right? like
Just write it out.
yeah. And don't let the rules get in your way, right? Like the rules are there as an aid, and they're a good scaffold, but they're not the whole building, right?
Right.
You're the one that's putting in the drywall, and your players are painting the walls and shit. Like it's all a collaboration. And if you think the rules are getting in the way, then just don't worry about the rules, at least for a moment. That might be controversial to some people, but I think that was probably the thing that surprised me most about DMing as opposed to playing is like, when I played, I was really concerned about like not screwing up the rules, but as a DM, I didn't think about the rules until I needed to.
Right.
And especially especially having jumped into fifth edition, like after playing like a little bit of fourth edition, and then before that second edition in AD&D, right? Like it was all just mixing up in my head anyway, right? It's like when I was, it's like it's like when I was a kid, I learned German because we were stationed in Germany, and then I went to high school and had to take Spanish because they didn't have German. So when I was in Spanish class, I was constantly throwing German words into the mix because it was all mixing up in my head.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I just let the one guy at the table who was the rules lawyer like steer me in the right direction whenever I've screwed up. So
That works.
there's always one of them.
Right?
Always one.
So, for the last question of the night, do you have a dice on you? Roll me I guess roll me a d20 then. We'll see if you get...
Yeah, it's got to be. I'd have to
that's all you got.
scrounge. Yeah.
Hey,
at least I came this prepared.
Yeah, I
That's
haven't
true.
gotten
This
all
was
the way
like
to
a
20
last minute
questions
thing.
yet, so we're still working on it.
All right, so what am I rolling for? Is it just rolling blind?
Just roll blind.
Okay. 7.
So, this is an interesting one. This is one that Chuck will get a kick out of as well. So, how do you stop people from being murder hobos?
I actually have a story about this.
All right.
That big-
There's a reason why these questions have become...
Right.
Sit back and relax now.
Generally when I feel like there's a problem at the table, I try to come up with a narrative solution. And I had one character who was basically just murder hoboing. And what's worse is that he was a paladin. He was like just constantly being a drunken murder hobo. And I'm like, you are not playing what your character, you're not playing what you said you were going to be playing. So I had them encounter like some little woodland sprites, and one of them cursed him. And anytime he did something that was like super out of character or didn't comport with his deity, right? There would be like a little scar tattoo on his wrist that would like suddenly give him an electric shock.
It's the dog barker.
Yeah. It's a cattle prod, right?
Oh man.
And to his credit, he rolled with it, and we actually made it a really fun thing.
Part of the story.
Yeah. Like I would say I kind of look at murder hobos and people who just like sit around like cracking jokes and not that cracking jokes is bad, but like when you're cracking jokes that aren't in character or in the world, then you're just kind of distracting everybody.
Right.
And so I kind of approached it the same way. I don't know if that would have worked on anyone, but yeah, like I come up with a narrative form of punishment, a punishment that fits within the narrative, and make it a story
I like it. You know, I don't know if it would work for everybody, but that wasn't what the question was. The question was, how do you stop murder hoboing? And if it's
how do I stop myself from murder?
No.
Oh.
No, but what I mean is
No, you answered the question.
You answered the question. Because like I said, it's not how everybody should do it, but it's how you did.
Right.
It.
Yes. This is fair.
For those that don't know what a shot collar is for dogs, it's kind of what it is.
That's basically what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. So, Mike, it's been great having you here tonight.
Absolutely.
It's been over. We're almost at an hour.
Good
we're already
grief.
we're actually 20 minutes over the time limit.
Yeah, really.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
So,
see, like you get me just shooting the shit, and I'll just yap your ear off, right?
That's
what we do here, man.
Yeah. So when we call happy hour is technically the hour-long show, and everything after that is just the extension. So yeah,
bonus.
It's the bonus. So
Fantastic.
thanks for coming. It's been a while.
Yeah,
You know, we've been trying to do
absolutely.
this for a couple years now. But I'm glad we got a chance to do it, and we get to hear not only about D&D, but a lot of the other TTRPGs that you've had the experience for. Definitely go check out ones like Fate of the Norns, Shadow Dark, Call of Cthulhu. Pretty much any ones we mentioned are going to be real fun games at your table.
Yep.
Real quick, before we go through our sponsors tonight, Mike, let us know where we can find you if people want to find out more about you.
Well, so you can find me at GamingTrend.com. That's pretty much where things that I'm doing right now are happening. But we're about to start up season 2 of our podcast, our video podcast, Tabletop Throwdown. And I will be sending James an invite to that soon as well, so we can continue this conversation.
Fantastic.
But yeah, definitely check out Tabletop Throwdown on our YouTube channel. And yeah, otherwise, if you might see me at Origins, you might see me at. You'll probably see me at Gen Con.
He's like, I'm just gonna say it.
He's gonna be around.
I'm going to Gen Con probably. It would be silly of me not to, honestly. If not,
I'll definitely see you back at Genghis next year. So.
Oh yes. I will be at Genghis and Gary.
Yeah. Till
the day I die, or till the day they die. I hope they don't die though.
No,
that would suck.
We've had enough TTRPG passaways during that time frame exactly. It's just not,
the last 2 years have been so brutal.
They have.
So brutal. But yeah, no, big fan of Donnie and Andrea, and Luke and his crew. Those are two of my favorite convention experiences, and I will probably never miss them.
Yeah. Well, I do recommend, if you have the opportunity, January is Page 3, which is their third year, and it's almost tripled in size by now already. And Ron puts on a very similar experience to those two that I probably will not miss. Partially because it's on the East Coast and I can actually get to it easier.
There you go.
So there is that. But
did you ever go to PAX Unplugged?
I have.
I like that one a lot.
We might.
It's a pretty fun one.
Chuck and I might make it there this year. We'll find out. Depends on timing. Schedule. So, I think it's the weekend after Thanksgiving this year. So.
Yeah, and it's also during some ridiculous marathon or something.
Yeah, so maybe go, maybe not go. We'll figure that out.
But it is one of my favorite ones. I love that one.
It was nice. It's about half the size of Gen Con, so nice. Yep. Real quick, I don't know. I'm gonna try to put Chuck on the spot for this one. We'll see if it works.
For what?
Chuck, you want to share our sponsors?
Oh, me? Share a sponsor? I get to actually do this time? Oh, man. Not like I don't do it every week anyway on mine. So if you like the music that you heard here in the Tavern, we want to thank Monument Studios. Go check out Fantasy Plus that they put out. Huge library. Love the interface. Easy to work with.
Did you see the extra on that?
What?
Did you see the extra on that? We actually have a code now.
We've got a code! Oh. I didn't read that part.
Oh, yeah. So, there it is.
Yeah, I see it now. That's new to me. That's why he wanted to put me on the spot. No. Yeah, I see that now. So, yeah, if you want to actually go and get Fantasy Plus from Monument Studios, use the code MISFIT for 30% off for 3 months.
No, 30% off.
Oh, no, it's 30% off or 3 months. Or 3 months free.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Man.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a deal.
It is.
I'll have to look into that one.
Oh, they're amazing. Their music is absolutely top notch.
Oh, it's not even just the music. The sound effects that they have along with it are really great.
Oh, yeah.
I think I found 10 different versions of arrows firing from a bow.
Perfect.
Nice.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Super cool.
You want more math rocks? Go check out our friends over at Canadian Dice .ca because they are in Canada.
They are in Canada.
You use the code MISFIT15. You get 15% off your order.
And we love you, Canada.
Yeah. Much love
really
there.
Do.
Sorry, Canada.
I love you.
We love
you.
Anyway,
we love you, Canada.
Yeah. If you want shirts that have the Tabletop Misfits logo, the Beaker Builds logo, go check out DungeonGrandmaster.com. He's got shirts for them. Hopefully, we got more coming on along the way. Maybe
Coming soon is Dressed Quest logos or Dressed Quest.
See, there we go.
Wait, Tom, what's that? What's the logo
Shirts.
that's behind you? What's going on there?
Tom, who's Tom?
Tom, who's Tom?
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm horrible. I'm horrible with names.
It's Chuck.
That logo with the cool robot and the brush and
yeah.
It's my logo.
Yeah, it's
Because what I-
super cool. Okay.
Because what I do on Thursday nights is I either will paint minis or build Gunpla or some other stuff.
Yeah.
Hence the
I should put you in touch with my lead hobby editor, Randy Gregory II.
Oh, look at that!
hey,
yeah.
please do it. Please do it.
Yeah. We actually just posted a ton of Star Wars hobby content on the site, so definitely go check that out.
Nice.
A lot of shatter points.
Mando.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
It's almost like it was planned. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But
No.
but yeah. No. Maybe you guys could have Randy on sometime. That would probably be
Oh,
fun.
please do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Randy can come on bigger builds and you guys can paint together. That'd be
There you go.
There you go.
Game.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're working on some new stuff. We'll see how it comes out, but we'll figure it out sooner or later. Yeah. So check out all of our sponsors. Tonight was awesome with Mike. Tomorrow we've got Beaker Builds
Absolutely.
where he's continuing the Banshee. Sunday is supposed to be our first recording for our new show, which will be coming up later this year. And if you're excited about something that I'm excited about, which is Power Rangers, our casting call just dropped last night on Instagram. It's also on a bunch of Discords. So if you want to be a Ranger and see what kind of crazy story Chuck is building for us, this is going to be his first live play, actual play that he's going to be running, and we're super excited. I get to sit in the back and do all the cool little sound effect things and stuff like that. So yeah,
Super
He
nice.
gets to take a seat back.
I do. I get to take a seat back, and it's been 3.5 years since I've done that. So I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah. No. You know what? I should. There's one more thing that I should pitch, just because.
Go for it.
We were talking about GUI Cube earlier.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be appearing on. Ron and I both, Ron, the co-owner, and myself of GamingTrend, are going to be appearing on Plots in Darkenhaven, which is their program that they've been doing, as our characters in the Guys and Gax supplemental material, Ekim Nud and Nightshade Dragon. Actually, I forgot I brought this out here, but this is my character in it right there. So.
There you go.
Yeah. So we're going to be making a guest appearance. I'm actually building that character up within the pantheon of characters, because we did a session at Genghis Khan that was just chef's kiss, and Kim loved it so much that like there might be a reoccurring character thing happening there.
Ooh, there you go.
There we go.
But yeah,
Are you on the same episode? Are you in the same episode I'm in?
maybe
I'll have to look.
I have to check on that. It's
It's like episode 7 or 8. So
we're doing it on the 18th.
yeah, I'm there too. I'll see you there.
All right, so yeah, this is a perfect thing to bring up then.
Yeah.
So we will both be on that.
We will be.
And that'll be super fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Godfrey gets to come back for another couple episodes as the cleric, or the Sarth cleric of the Grave cleric. So it's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, he's
very nice.
He's interesting. Yeah, probably the most ostentatious character I've ever played. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it. He has no filter whatsoever and is willing to call out anyone, including his own party members. So
I've been playing at Kim's table for the last, I guess, year now, and I've played like 3 characters, and it's like at the point now where I'm like, okay, I have to play a character that is completely different than the last character that I played. And I think the last character, what got me through that was I played like a super goody 2 shoes, like cleric, sad boy, like handsome sad boy. I was like, I've never played a character like this before, but it was fun and silly. Anyway, we probably need to let these people go.
Thanks everybody
He's
for
telling
coming.
us to wrap up.
Right, we're trying to wrap it up, and we just keep talking. It's all right. This is what the tavern's all about tonight.
Excellent.
This is last call. Raise your glasses high. This is Tavern Talks. We'll see you guys all next week
Cheers.
with another guest. And stick around real quick as we go raid some friends. Have a good night. And...